Hi, good morning. I'm Karl Jandrey and I'm the Associate Dean for Admissions and Student Programs here at UC Davis. It's kind of a cold and a little dreary, overcast, rainy Saturday, and we're in the middle of the pandemic. It's April 4th. So this Saturday morning, since the hospital and the school facilities are pretty empty, I thought I'd take you on a tour. There are a few things that you may have seen before if you've ever been on campus. There are also potentially things that you haven't seen before, even if you've been on campus, even recently. I would have to say that the School of Veterinary Medicine is pretty dynamic. We're pretty innovative and things are changing all the time. So every time I take a tour or walk through the facilities, I always find something new. So today, we'll spend as much time as we need. I'm gonna do a bunch of different clips in a bunch of different buildings, try to stay out of the rain, and hopefully get to see a few things. So behind me is the Career Leadership and Wellness Center. It's located in Shalom Hall, and it's right by this Faithful Partner statue that commemorates all the dogs that are working animals that were lost in the line of duty. It's quite a powerful program when the first responders and the law officers come to pay tribute to their animals that have been fallen. But we keep that right here in the center of our facilities so that we remember a lot of the reasons that we do this. So that's Shalom Hall. It's our third year lecture hall. It includes our Career Leadership and Wellness Center and our counseling suite. And behind my right shoulder over there, that's Tupper Hall. That's often the location of many of our faculty offices, laboratories, and some also from the medical school. So primarily houses the Veterinary Medicine Epidemiology Department and the Veterinary Surgery and Radiology Department. There's also conference rooms and lots of labs. It's quite a large building, but it is a shared space with the medical school. And as I keep turning around, we're going to see a nice big tree, but that is one of our teaching buildings, and we're going to go into the teaching buildings next. The other things you might want to know about Shalom Hall contains our Health Sciences Library. Hi, we're now in Gladys Valley Hall. This is the center of our teaching and instruction. This is a relatively new building. We have a set of small group rooms, we have large group rooms, we also have large lecture halls. This houses primarily our first and second year students, and this is a typical classroom. This is a middle-sized classroom. We have about 80 seats in this class, and we have two 50-seat auditoriums. We have 4 rooms that are about 20 to 30, and then we have about 20 small group rooms where students in the first, second, and third year curriculum break into their small groups and do a lot of their problem-based learning and case-based learning. This is one of the larger lecture halls. This seats about 880 people. This is the second year classroom. It has all the bells and whistles that you would expect for connectivity. We can also do faculty meetings in these rooms, which connects us to all our other facilities throughout the state. We can actually connect 2 of the large classrooms together via audio and video feeds, so we can actually have a larger audience than just the class of 150 students. I'm also upstairs now in Valley Hall, and I'm showing you one of our students' classrooms. This is the homeroom of one of the classes. This actually is a place where they can put all their stuff down. You can see a bunch of crates, and they also have rules about bringing their dogs and other critters to campus. There is dispensation for our vet students, for the first, second, and third year students to have their animals in this building under very strict guidance and rules. It's the only place on campus that's allowed, so they don't abuse that privilege. It has a small little kitchen so that they can also keep their lunches here and use this as sort of their central hub of their day. To tell you the truth, it's nice and quiet right now because there's no animals in here, but normally there's a little bit of activity when you walk in the door. I also wanted to show you one of these small group rooms. These rooms also double as not only small group, case-based, and team-based learning areas. They have smart screen for everyone's computer, but this can also double as a makeshift examination room. You can see the exam table on the side, and there's a camera there, so that when we do have our students in client simulation laboratories, they can come in here as the veterinarian with actors to provide a sense of the reality of what clinics is all about and how they can interact with clients and get feedback on that. The foyer here at Valley Hall pretty much is the center of all our big activities, our events, and our award ceremonies. It also spills out onto this lovely patio area that also leads to this lawn, which is basically the quad. It's the center of the facility. It is sort of our front door to both the teaching hospital right over there to our left, to one of the major academic buildings called VetMed 3A, which houses mostly pathology. We'll be in there in a little bit. And also to the right is multiple purpose teaching, and we're also going to be in there next. One of our faculty members did a Fulbright in Egypt, and she came back and had this little exhibit that extends throughout Valley Hall on the walls to educate everybody about what her events what were they like and what happened while she was there. Also on the second floor here of Valley Hall is the home to our MPVM program. That's the Masters of Veterinary Preventive Medicine, and we have a group of people who are learning mostly epidemiological and study skills that will lead them into a master's program that is similar to an MPH, but it's our specific one for the vet school. Now we're going across that way into the multiple purpose teaching building. We're in multiple purpose teaching, also known as MPT. This is one room of a mirror image room just down the hall where we can put half the class in each space and work on laboratories. As you can see, this is mostly microscopes, and there's some also surgical kits and other things that are developed for our students during the pandemic when we're online learning. They have some kits to take home with them so that they can come in at design times, provide physical distancing between each other, pick up these kits and practice some of their skills at home. This lab is also reconfigurable to do other things. Upstairs you'll see different reconfigurations of these spaces. Again, they're similar mirror image across the hall, and it provides where one faculty member could be in one area but be video and audio linked to the other building or the other room. So we can have the whole class at once working on their histology slides, for instance. Now we're upstairs in MPT. As you can see, this room has some tables on wheels with lots of chairs. This place can be reconfigured into any design you'd like. In fact, sometimes we have catered luncheons and things in here. This is a place where commonly faculty members will have team-based learning. They'll host the class, potentially all of the class, so that they can have interactive group discussions, breakout sessions, and other team-based learning activities. The other thing that we have in MPT is a clinical skills lab. It's also upstairs, but right now it's closed so that we can limit physical distancing, and students aren't on campus right now anyways. So there's the foyer, the patio of Valley Hall, the quad, and the entrance to the Veterinary Medical Teaching Hospital. And now we're going to swing into VetMed 3A, primarily our pathology building. This is one of my favorite hidden gems. This is the anatomy study room. It's kind of like a natural history museum with a bunch of specimens that include both mostly musculoskeletal, but there are some other specimens in here. It's quiet. Most people don't really know about it. It's rare when I come in here and find anybody studying, but those students who know about it probably don't tell anybody else because they don't want anyone else around, because this is a beautiful place to study, to disconnect. It's right across from the anatomy labs as well, where we can take a comparative approach to our curriculum. We're often using a single animal as the marker for that individual learning activity, but we compare it across other species so that it is truly a comparative anatomy and very detailed for the first 2 years. And the third year is when our students start to more species focus the interest of the area that they want. This is another one of my favorite hidden spaces in VetMed 3A, our pathology building. This is the theater where our pathologists will have group rounds. Beyond that door that you're going to see in a second is our path floor for necropsies. But the animals or the species can be wheeled in here, placed in the center of the room, and observed by the group of people that are surrounding it. The other thing that's really pretty spectacular is it's almost tricked out like a total studio. That camera up there beams right down on the center. It can be seen live up here on these huge screens. And the other wonderful thing is they connect us to other pathologists around our state that are part of our California Animal Health and Food Safety Lab. We have 4 unique laboratories throughout the state, but the mothership is here at Davis, right on campus next to the veterinary school. I'm basically standing where the large animal clientele will bring their animals, usually on trailers, into this space so that they can be cared for by our food animal livestock as well as camelid and equine folks. Its right entrance is right there to the large animal aspect of our veterinary medical teaching hospital, and to the left right there is the pathology building, Vet Med 3A. The first floor is the clinical floor, and the second through fifth floors are all faculty labs and offices. We have large animal barns and an arena right over there under a small sort of roof. It's not the hugest arena, but we have plans to make a really big one. 2 equine barns, the cattle and livestock barn, the intake area for the cattle and livestock. Another area here for isolation, and then the other building beyond the trees is our equine performance laboratory, so treadmills. The other thing you'll notice through the trees as I turn around here is Gorley Lab. It's another one of our teaching areas, and we're going in there next. We're in Gorley Hall, where this is some of the facilities that lead to our 3rd year clinical surgical teaching. We also do many other laboratories in this area. This is primarily the prep and induction area for the surgical center, where we can put half the class in surgery all at the same time. I'm not gowned and gloved up, so I'm not officially allowed in this space. But if I can open the door, you can see our laboratory for all the surgical teaching. We have our faculty from anesthesia and surgery in here with a group of 3 students on each animal every time. And then beyond that glass window there is another area that's cordoned off for another set of teaching. That's our community surgery practice, where our senior students get many hands-on surgical pieces of experience, because these animals are usually brought from shelters, and those shelters allow us to do the work with veterinary supervision, but the students get to do all of the work. So this is the major teaching area for our surgical facilities. This is another view on our surgical teaching area. Beyond those windows in the dark room to the left, that is the scrub sinks. So the prep of the animals takes care of behind me, comes through these doors, gets in here and set up on the table with their anesthetic machines, and then the surgeons and the student surgeons would be beyond that wall with all those windows. That's their scrub sink area. As we leave Gorley Hall and the surgical teaching facility and lab facilities, which also include things like physical exams and ultrasounds, they're all done on live animals primarily. So the facilities right behind it are all the barns and the housing for the animals that are used in our curriculum. These animals can also be relocated from other parts of campus, brought to us so that our students can use them when they are appropriate in their curriculum. I also want to let you know that we have many different shelters throughout the state that we partner with and get animals. So those animals are brought here as well, housed here pre and post-operatively, and then returned back to the shelter. So these have quite a large area for animal housing. Just behind it is our new large animal support facility, also known as the new hay barn. That's going to be full of hay pretty soon, as we try to move in some of those services from the center of our large animal barns out to here, so we can start doing some new construction. And what we're building is an all animal imaging center, as well as equine performance center, which includes a very large arena where we can actually have gait analysis under saddle. What we're having back here, a bit of a round pen, but also that's our equine performance lab. That is where the treadmills for the horses are for mostly cardiopulmonary studies. The little red roof beyond the fence is the isolation area for any infectious disease for our large animals. And then on the edge of the road here is our facilities for our blood donor animals. These are our large animal blood donors, and also our cows, for the officiated cows for transplantation. So these animals are recently relocated here as well as part of our veterinary medical complex plan for expansion. So they're in some nice new facilities here. And then on the corner, this is the entrance also to our equestrian center. The campus does have an equestrian center that's quite active. In fact, they just formed an NCAA equestrian team. We are the official team doctors, but this center is some of the campus community can actually house their animals there, but also provide sport horse training. Wouldn't be a tour of a vet school without seeing some animals. So here's some of our hoof stock. I interrupted their breakfast. Hi girls. What's going on? Hi, sweet cheeks. Hi. Yeah, how's it going? And beyond that is our arboretum. So beyond the blood donor area is our arboretum. The arboretum is the park basically that we have of campus. This is one of our blood donors. I think that's Bubbles. Hey Bubbles, how you doing? Good morning. I guess you don't mind that it's drizzly out here. But the Arboretum spans from the vet school all the way on the south edge of campus right to downtown Davis. So it's a pretty common biking and walking running path for people. And it's a nice break when we need to get out of the school, take a nice walk whenever you need. This blood donor facility also, as you may have heard people walking by, is a pretty nice attraction for people who do come to campus. They come to the Arboretum and sometimes they'll walk by our animals that are out here in the pastures or in the paddocks. And it's a nice public service because in these times I think it makes people breathe a little bit more easier and relax a bit. There's some more of our blood donor grills. And you can see some of the beautiful flowering trees in the Arboretum. So we're on the south side of the veterinary school. As we swing around this road, this loop shows us the back of the Center for Companion Animal Health, the back of Vet Med 2, and the back of the large animal barns, including the old hay barn. Those things are going to be reconverted within the next couple of years so that we build out the new veterinary medical center complex. Hi there. I don't have candy for you today. So right behind me you can see the entrance to the Arboretum. And as I swing around the loop road, you can see how our vet school is right there across the street. What we've been doing so far is going through a tour through the teaching buildings and some of the research buildings. And we basically are working our way chronologically down the scale. We started with some of the newest buildings and we're going to be ending with the Veterinary Medical Teaching Hospital, which is the oldest building that we currently have on our VetMed campus. And that is the one that's undergoing the major renovation with the Veterinary Medical VMC, the Veterinary Medical Complex campaign, which is probably going to be about an 8 to 15 year build out. Welcome to the Center for Companion Animal Health. This is also known as the Cancer Center, but this is a primarily receiving area for many different specialties that primarily are the outpatient specialties. This is the large 2-story foyer that allows our clients to be separated from each other by dogs and cats, and also have a pharmacy pickup window beyond. The first floor is all clinical and the second floor is basically research. We have research laboratories upstairs for genetics on the east side and oncology on the west side. The Center for Companion Animal Health was a facility built with private donations. It was about a $16 million building, I think in 2004. It is primarily the school's fundraising arm. That's private donations, mostly from excellent and devoted clients and philanthropists that really enjoy the work that we do. They enjoy the clinical trials work and they really buy into the educational aspect of everything we do. Everything here is a teaching moment. So in that building we also house our primary care providers. That is what we call community practice. It is our wellness and preventive medicine service. It also operates as its own mini hospital. It is an outpatient clinic, but it does have its own surgical facilities. And across the little park here we have our integrative medicine service. It says rehabilitation on the top of the door, but it truly is our integrated medicine service that mixes Eastern and Western, and mostly dealing with post-operative or pre-operative patients that are orthopedic and neuro in nature. They are provided more individualized and slow recovery when their physical abilities are getting back on track post-operatively. And also behind me we have this memorial wall. Also donors have memorialized some of their animals with small plaques that are here and allow us to reflect while we sit out here and eat our lunch. With the CCAH behind us, that's the public entrance for reception B. We swing around and you can see Vet Med 2. This was built in the 80s. It houses our MRI, our CT, our standing equine MRI, and also our companion avian exotics service for their hospitalized patients, surgical facilities, and homerooms, teaching facilities. Upstairs are large classroom type, let me call them homerooms, for behavior, cardiology, and dermatology. They also have their exam rooms upstairs. The comparative ophthalmology and imaging laboratory is also upstairs. We also have our shelter medicine program. The Correct Shelter Medicine program is housed upstairs. It is one of the premier shelter programs in the world that trains other veterinarians to work with shelters, both on the design and on the animal care level. That's our loading dock, that's just not very exciting, and then our main parking lot. But again, since it's a little bit drizzly and you have to see animals, got some mallards hanging out today. Welcome to our ICU. This is the hospital's most critical patients in the small animal arena, primarily oxygen therapy, ventilator therapy, blood transfusions, and lots of minute-to-minute monitoring. Currently, it's quiet. We're not going to say quiet, but there are no patients here. But we have housing and oxygen and treatments and technicians on staff 24/7 waiting for anybody that needs that kind of intensive monitoring. This is our emergency room, so all the staged resuscitations generally come to this front table. Everything is at arm's reach. It's a relatively small room. It's about, I think it's like 22 by 40 maybe. It allows us to take care of the most urgent needs of most of the patients here in the hospital. We have our own point of care ultrasound over there, our Omnicell for controlled drugs and supplies for each patient. Computers are everywhere because we need to track our electronic medical record, and then our crash cart, of course. This is the back of the intermediate care ward. We have 10 runs. These are all similar on each of our wards. 10 runs for the large dogs, where we have monitoring by our technical staff here in the intermediate care ward, minute to minute, hour to hour for sure. The animals actually have a nice window as well. This area is our general wards. Smaller patients will be here on fluids. They'll have hour-to-hour watch, no less than every hour, for our technical staff to circulate through the wards. This is one side. It's a mirror image behind me, and the end of the ward has another set of 10 runs. So you can see our animals are really well cared for with lots of plushy cushions. This is our nutrition kitchen. This is for hospitalized patients. Lots of bins to get their specific diets, but also a little mini kitchen to develop a specific diet that may not be currently commercially available, but can be designed by our nutritionists and the nutrition staff to meet the medical needs of those patients. We also do have foods to go, as well as client-based foods who have placed orders, and those are all ready to go and stashed over here. This is one of our client reception areas. Our staff can sit here. Here's our areas for our clients and their animals. This is all connected to the main reception and the front door, which is on our second floor, with pictures of all our house officers forever. Since we have the largest house officer training program in the world, we recognize them for all the work that they do, and they're very important to our work. We have our main reception area, hallways that have a lot of different things relating to surgery. We have exam rooms and home rooms for teaching, as well as animal examination. The hospital is built in the early 70s, does serve many different purposes. Clinical service for sure, clinical trials, research for sure, and then of course the teaching. This is one of our exam rooms, newly remodeled exam rooms. Let me get the lights on. There we go. This is one of our larger new exam rooms. When we build out the new Vet Med Center, most of the exam rooms will look similar to this. We have a large whiteboard for our clients, so we can draw pictures and make sure that they understand before they leave everything that's going on with their patient. Nice comfortable seating area. Dogs seem to like to jump on that instantly when they come into this room. And then exam table, and our electronic medical record is really important for our computer to be at our fingertips. As I walk through the hospital towards this corner where our administrative offices are, for our hospital administrator, our chief veterinary medical officer, and their staff, to keep all of us organized. It just reminds me to tell you about the other services that we haven't seen that are on this floor. We do have our dentistry suite. We do also have our radiology areas for ultrasound and flat films. This is our anesthesia prep area. There are some emergency surgeries going on, so it is have some activity here. Big anesthesia machine, but the tables where we prep our animals, get them anesthetized, shaved as needed, prepped with catheters and such, and then they're taken back through that door into the surgical suites. We have 8 surgical suites and 10 surgical tables, or behind me into the hallway and out through the rest of the hospital complex. Downstairs in the Veterinary Medical Teaching Hospital are our central laboratories, our central service for supplies on our left, and also the next 2 doors are our pharmacy or our drug room on the left. We also have a community blood donor program for our dogs. That is a voluntary process where we screen the animals for appropriateness for their blood, and we do take their blood, process it, and use the blood in our hospital for our sickest patients. Welcome to our blood bank. This is where the blood is processed and handled. Our large centrifuge, our storage refrigerators, also our plasma freezer, and of course control center and platelets on a rocker so that they don't clot and they stay at room temperature. This is the main entrance and parking lot for our clients for the Veterinary Medical Teaching Hospital. You can see up that ramp is the main entrance to the Veterinary Teaching Hospital. As we swing around under the trees, you can see Valley Hall, our teaching building. And then we have not yet visited this. This is VetMed 3B. It's our newest building that houses primarily our Anatomy, Physiology, Cell Biology Department, Veterinary Medical Biosciences Department, and Public Health and Reproduction Department. It is also the home of our One Health Institute, and the One Health Institute is the primary driver of the PREDICT project that we have through the United States AID grant. We had an extension for the grant to help us with the COVID-19 outbreak, to continue research and to make sure that people in those areas around the world, since we're working in 34 different countries, have the access and the abilities to continue to do the viral testing that they need. The building over here is the Veterinary Medical Student Services and Administration Center, right next to the Scrubs Cafeteria. The cafeteria was recently built along with this Veterinary Medical Administration Center. It's a student services center that houses information technology, human resources for the vet hospital as well as the school, the dean's offices, as well as development, advancement, and communications. The Scrubs Cafeteria is managed by campus. Actually, it's really good food, so it's nice that it's right next door. I hope you enjoyed your tour. There's much more to see, but we didn't have all that much time, and a lot of places were locked still because it's the weekend and it is the pandemic. But hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, for sure, contact anybody on my team. Call me, email me. We're happy to answer your questions so that you understand what we do, how we do it, and why we love what we do. Have a great day.